caught. I'm going to talk about clothing specifically. This is all stuff you've heard before, but I'm going to kind of explain it a bit better. So you want to dress in layers, multiple layers, and you don't want to sweat. Sweating will kill you. If you start to sweat, stop what you're doing, the activity, and start to remove layers from the outside in, because you want to keep the warmer layers there. Sweat's going to kill you faster in grid down in hypothermic conditions than the actual cold temperature will. Now the inner layer, this is all subject to argument. Personally, I'm talking about what I do. I would go with merino wool or a synthetic fabric. The reason being, it will sweat, and you do sweat normally. It will wick it away from you rather than retaining it next to you. So cold next to you removes air. It allows conduction to happen. You want to have as many air barriers at a micro between you and the cold. That allows your heat not to dissipate into the environment and therefore to drop your temperature. Think about a furnace on a cold day in a house. It's on all the time because the heat's leaving the house all the time. Now I use middle layers. I use 2 middle layers on a cold day, maybe 3 even. I've used 3 before. Wool and goose down work well if you're okay with those products. They're also great as long as you don't care about them being heavy and you don't ever want to get them wet. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Generally speaking, in the house I'm going to use wool and for my middle layer. Outside I'm going to try and use synthetics. Polytech, Thinsulate, various mix like that. I like them better as a middle layer because they're lighter and they're more resistant to getting wet. Now I do feel free to put a cotton hoodie on top of that, and like I say, trapping the air is what you want to be looking for. Now the outer layer I'm still working on my system, and I'll show that in a minute. It's got to be windproof. Wind is terrible. It should also be wet proof. It doesn't have to be waterproof. In fact, that might be problematic because when you sweat you actually want the water some of the water to evaporate out into the environment. That's why you'll see people in the winter when they're running their own bikes, they actually have frost on their face, on their scarves, because they're breathing out moisture from their air and it freezes. So Gore-Tex are classic, mostly, but there's hundreds now to choose from, so that's what I would go with. Also talking about that, shoes. You want 2 pairs of trail runners or boots that can function down to about -40 centigrade, which is what, -20 Fahrenheit? You really want them. What you also need is good quality hiking socks and merino wool hiking socks. I got some out, they're not merino wool, but you'll see the idea. Head, a toque and another hat on top. Usually a wool blend is what I will go with. If you go with straight wool, again, washing it becomes problematic, and the lasting of it won't last that long. Face, a scarf or a bandana or a neck scarf usually works great, and usually again I will go with synthetic. The cheeks and the nose really will freeze quite easily in grid down. The main thing you need for your layering system is a friend, both to get you dressed and undressed, but also to keep an eye on you. If you don't have a friend, make sure you have a little mirror, because you might want to check stuff out. Remember, you will go numb and a little confused if you get hypothermic. So your cheeks can literally freeze and your lips can actually chap and freeze. So again, chapsticks, stuff like that's good, but prevention is better than cure, so cover it up. So what do I actually have? Well, starting with my hands, what I would do is I usually use a 1-layer system. And I use a glove or a product like this. They're about $30 Canadian. I get them on sale. Use it because it stops the wind, traps the air, and I have manual dexterity. On a very cold day, I would then go with a system like this, a mitten. Gloves with a mitten I find works best. Now some people will use mittens, but I like the gloves with the mitten. Now your dexterity is gone with this, but this will keep you warm. Now I have on occasion actually gone for a 2nd layer and then these, because it's been that windy and that cold. So remember, the combination of the wind and the cold is what's going to kill you. Typically in the winter I will usually have a scarf on. This is a find it really helps on top of the coat, underneath the coat, to have a scarf. And you can get these from any second-hand store. Don't spend a lot of money. This happens to be a synthetic one I got from Beer. The other thing, as I'm sure you've seen on various other channels, is your face. Though they may look a bit threatening, the marauding prepper look works really well. Now, one of the things a lot of us have is vision difficulties. So if I put this on like this very quickly, especially outside, the air will come out of here, form on the lens and actually fog me up and I can't see none. So I generally won't go with a ski mask like this. What I would do is this sort of a thing with this, because I find a double layer here is really helpful, because this is really where you're going to get freezing cold air. And I will use a product like a neck warmer. Put that around my neck, and then I can pull the neck warmer up to there or even there, and that prevents the fogging of the glasses. Sunglasses are also very important. If you can actually cover the eye, it's good as well, because your eyes can stick and freeze, and it has happened to me. I'm taking this off because I look far too weird. The other thing you might want to consider is going to a sporting goods store on discount, on sale, and getting trousers like these. These are actually from Mountain Equipment Co-op. These are a good layer to put on the inside. These are extra large. I'm not that fat anymore, but I will actually have clothing inside of this as well. So a few pairs of these. This is going to cost you money. But the outer layer at the moment, I'm still looking at the system. I have this, which will stop the wind and be kind of rain resistant. So I would have at least 2 layers on in the winter and grit down. Jeans, total no-no. Cotton's a bad thing, real bad thing to wear in the winter. One of the things that's cheap if you don't have much money, a lot of people don't, is you can get these in second-hand stores as well. Look out for them. If you find them, buy them, especially if they're your size. The other thing is pantyhose, tights as we call them in England. Women have them. You'd have to get, for most men, a big fat size of them, but pantyhose has been used for, God, at least 60 years by the military in cold weather conditions, and also by climbers and people like that. Pantyhose fits well, allows movement, and actually traps the air and keeps you warm. A decent jacket like this, again, doesn't really matter about the make, prevents the air getting in. So in combination with, not this, a cotton, but a merino wool or a synthetic running t-shirt is what I would normally wear, and usually long sleeve. Possibly a synthetic or a hoodie or a cotton hoodie or a wool jumper. Again, this was second hand, cost a fortune to buy second hand. And the blend wool with synthetics work better for washing. They do, not as great for heating. And then this layer on top. So this layer on top, what this does is it prevents the air going in. And my inner layers, it's funny, I don't really use stuff much. I'm kind of tolerant to the cold, but I keep these for grid down specifically because I don't want to die. Got them on sale, left them in the box. Of course I have them for Leslie as well. So basically it's pantyhose for men and a good vest for men. So this sort of a product here is actually going to help keep you comfortable on the inner layer. For socks, I do have lots of merino wool socks. I buy them whenever they're on sale actually. But day to day, my emergency box, which is what I opened for this demonstration, I actually have Costco outdoor trail socks, which are merino wool blend. The more merino wool you have, the more expensive they'll be and the more effective they'll be, but they won't last as long. They'll wear out quicker. So I find a blend is cheap, and you can get these for like $10 if you look out for them. Obviously buying winter gear at the beginning of the winter, it's going to cost you more. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Stay warm. Okay.